Hey, welcome to another episode of beersandbars.com. Today we're going to be talking about three of the newer beers released by Anheuser-Busch. Um, One of them being the Michelob Ultra Pure Gold, made with organic grains. Limited release for the summer, Budweiser Freedom Reserve Red Lager. And then this one is a mixture of two of the recent acquisitions by Anheuser-Busch. Estrella Jalisco uh, partnered up with Golden Road Brewing to come up with a Mango Michelada. So let's go ahead and start off with the Michelob Ultra. So like the Michelob Ultra is targeting, I wouldn't necessarily say, I guess I would say beer drinkers, but in this case, I guess you're not picky of what you're drinking, and you're more about just having something that you can choose to drink when you're socializing, something that's low in carbs, low in calories, and not big on taste. So, and if you're drinking something like this, you're not really concerned. I mean, you don't want it to taste like crap, but at the same time, I don't think you're a real big discerning beer drinker, craft beer drinker who really likes a punch in your beer, who really likes tasting different ingredients, different types of hops. This one is as bland as it could go. I mean, you could even see it from the bottle. So let's go ahead and pour it so you guys can take a look. Here you go. Here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm pouring it in my Venetian Palazzo pint cup because the Hyatt place where I'm staying at, they don't sell pints of their own. So, as you can see, it's clear. Actually, this one, carbonation, it's not so much, but you can see it there. Very faint. Very faint citrusy type hops to it. They're using organic grains. I guess everybody has drinking their OG Michelob Ultra, and I understand if you're myself. I'm trying to lose some weight, so sometimes when I want a beer, but I don't want something too heavy or something. I don't want to derail my weight loss. I would pick up a Michelob Ultra. So let's see how it tastes. It's crisp, no real aftertaste. The colder it gets, the less flavors coming at you. So I guess if you really wanted to try the true flavors of it, you would probably let it get to room temperature and then give it a try and then see how you would like it. But a lager, especially these type of lagers, are meant to be drank really, really cold. And I mean, what Anheuser-Busch will always have advantage of over craft beer is just the amount of money they could spend on marketing. A lot of the beers, of course, major sporting events, especially the World Cup, you probably get inundated with a bunch of advertisements for Budweiser, and because they have billions and billions to spend. Now, if you want to find out more about craft beer, probably the biggest place I'd like to go is Instagram. You get to see different craft breweries from all over the country on IG, which is really cool. Also, the different mags out there like Beer Advocate really help out. Untapped is really good, and sometimes just the best thing you could do is go to a local beer store like Total Wine or More, Bevmo, or even your local liquor store. I found some good beers at my local liquor store that I couldn't find anywhere else. Like back in the day, Pliny the Elder was a big find at just across the street, and I was driving all over the place looking for a unique craft beer, which was hard to find. But I understand where Michelob Ultra is coming through. It's almost like the Corona Premier. I mean, if you change the bottling, I probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So if you put a Corona Premier in here, I couldn't tell. And if you put this Michelob Ultra into a Corona Premier bottle, probably be fooled, because they were really, really bland. Not a lot of correct characteristics that stand out. But if it's a place for people who are trying to watch their weight, obviously moderation. You could have one beer and a really good beer, and just that's it. This was probably if you just want to kick back and drink a couple and not really put a dent in your weight loss. So this was Michelob Ultra Pure Gold, and then next we're gonna jump into Budweiser Freedom Reserve. All right, guys, so let's jump in to this Budweiser Freedom Reserve. Let's see here. Another twist up. Now this one's the Freedom Reserve Red Lager. Already you can see the difference between this and the Freedom Reserve. This one definitely has more body, but I guess they've had studies where people assume that just because it's darker, it has more body. So let's not assume that, especially with these bigger beers that might have used artificial coloring and stuff like that. So let's not assume that because it has a darker color to it that it has more body to it. And just overall, just the scent of it doesn't really come off. Nothing really stands out, nothing really bold. The head was there, but as you can see, it dissipated fairly quickly. So let's go ahead and see if the darker coloring means more flavorful beer. Really smooth. The one thing that corporate beers, or especially Budweiser, has really perfected is the crisp aftertaste, or little or no aftertaste. These beers are really meant to really go down smooth. People who like Budweiser probably wouldn't like IPA, or maybe I'm just assuming too much. I myself, I do like IPAs. I do like a good lager, but I also like something with a little more flavor. But I'm not a hater of Budweiser by any means. I always compare Budweiser with maybe like your first car. Many for us, I'm assuming a lot of our first beers were Budweiser, and if it wasn't, God bless you. But or good for you too. But for me, one of my first beers was Budweiser, and grew up after I was 21, of course, drinking Budweiser, corporate beers, bigger beer brands. So it could be like your first car, even though my first car was a junker, but the memories that you have with it. So the memories that I have with my first beers coincide with good memories. So now that I'm older, it obviously doesn't taste the same. I prefer a good craft beer, but I'm not a hater of Budweiser. I always give Budweiser credit for having the same beer wherever you go. No matter if you're drinking a Budweiser in New York or you're drinking a Budweiser in Los Angeles, it has the same consistency to it. And with the lager, that's very difficult to have. In this case, I would say actually in this case, this one's smoother than a regular Budweiser. I would say a regular Budweiser has more has more flavor than the red lager. This is the corporate labeling. It says this red lager is brewed with toasted barley grains for a slightly sweet aroma with a touch of hops, a rich caramel malt taste, and a smooth finish with a hint of molasses inspired by George Washington's recipe. I guess it does has a slight sweetness to it. But overall, it's a good beer. I think it's great that Budweiser is brewing different styles of beer. But like I always said, I would love to taste an IPA from Budweiser. I think that would be something I'd be interested in tasting. But you know, if you happen to come by it, if you're curious how it tastes, I would definitely pick up a sixer of Budweiser Freedom Reserve. All right, next we're gonna jump in to one of my favorite styles of drinks, the Michelada, and this one's a Estrella Jalisco Mango Michelada. All right, let's jump into our third and final beer of our corporate beer escapade. Now this one's one of my favorite drink styles, the Mango Michelada or the Michelada. And this one has a little twist because it's a Mango Michelada. Estrella Jalisco with Golden Road Brewing. So let's jump into that. And it's made with Clamato. When I was in Mexico recently, what did I have? I had one of these style beers too with Clamato. Something you can't find here in the States, which I'm sure that's soon going to change just because really the popularity of micheladas and just the ease of just drinking it already made. Although I do prefer to make it on my own fresh, and I made a video on how to make a simple michelada here on Beers and Bars on YouTube. So if you guys want to look into that, it's a real simple stuff. Most of the ingredients you should have at home, and if not, they're fairly easy to purchase. Right. What I also like about homemade micheladas is that you could really add stuff to it, take away stuff. It also helps with kind of turns every beer into like a more of a, even though these already have a low ABV, but it kind of lowers it some more. So it's a lot of session drinking because for a regular michelada you would add some ice, and then so every maybe pint of beer you would drink maybe half a beer. So 2 micheladas would be 1 beer. So you know, kind of extends yourself, and especially if you're eating, makes the day just go smoother, and you're not just putting beer into your body, you're putting a little bit of other stuff in there. So there you go. Almost looks like a Bloody Mary, which I also do like. You could definitely smell the mango in it. I think to finish it off, I would maybe add some chili here to the rim of it. Really be really good. But let's go ahead. Very sweet. I think the mango might be a little bit overpowering, but it's alright. I could see maybe drinking maybe 1 or 2 of these, but not a lot of it. The mango is a bit too much for me, a little bit too sweet, but it tastes alright. And I would definitely pick up another one if I saw it. And so I'm waiting to see what other selections they offer, especially with all the acquisitions they're making, see what they have up their sleeve over at Anheuser-Busch. Alright guys, well that's been a quick run through of corporate brand beer, the Anheuser-Busch. We talked about the Freedom Reserve limited release for the summer. We also talked about Michelob Ultra a new selection for those people who want to have a beer but are still concerned about carbs and calories. And then finally, we had the Mango Michelada, which, if you're not concerned about carbs or calories, this is a perfect drink for you, although it was a bit sweet. But we'll see what other concoctions they come out with. But hey, if you haven't done so already, please have a great beer. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel here at beersandbars.com on YouTube. And thanks for watching. And have a great beer.